to 8 months?
6 to 8 months?
Nah.
Of this?
Nah. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we are back with another American reaction. We're super excited about this video, guys. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit the red subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 50K. And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Without further ado, let's get into the video.
With everything going on in the world right now,
so
you may have contemplated moving to another country. And for my viewers from the States, which is most of you guys, the obvious choice would be crossing the northern border to our often overlooked but incredibly peaceful neighbor, Canada. Of course, Americans love threatening to move to Canada, especially after presidential elections. But the data shows that although many talk the talk, Americans rarely walk the walk. And they don't drive or fly either. Now, if you are one of the 10,000 US citizens each year who actually do mean it, I don't blame you. Since its founding in 1867, Canada has become a country with amazing public education, low crime, great food, friendly residents, and of course, some of the world's finest nature. The land of Banff, Vancouver Island, Niagara Falls, Toronto, and Montreal is also the second largest country on the planet, bordering 3 oceans. But despite its enormous size, Canada still manages to do a great job juggling all of its responsibilities and taking care of its people. I mean, while the US only gave a one-time payment of $1,200 to its recently out-of-work residents, Canada is giving $2,000 a month for the next 4 months. And they have universal...
Oh, this must be...
this.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
There's a
I
reason
didn't know
Canada
that.
is
This was from the
pandemic?
pandemic had went down. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I
was
knew
getting
it.
paid.
Yeah, maybe I knew it like then, but I forgot.
When we heard about that, we was like, our jaw was dropped. It was like, how come?
$2,000 a month per person, huh?
Per person. Per household and a person.
They was taking care of their people.
Yeah, 100%. That's
ranked as one of the best countries to live in the world. Speaking of which, let's hit 3,000 likes and I'll do a video on the top 10 best countries to live in the world. Anyways, despite the amazing quality of life here, the birthplace of pineapple pizza also isn't perfect. Find out why in my top 10 reasons not to move to Canada. And yes, pineapple pizza is originally from Ontario. Number 10, car insurance. Now, you might not have even thought of this one, but it's extremely expensive to own a car in Canada. Car insurance rates in most provinces are well above the rates in most states. Sure, it can actually be pretty cheap in Quebec, but in most provinces, you can expect to pay at least $1,200 a year on average. And if you live in Toronto or Vancouver, watch out, because the average cost is over $2,100 per year for a regular car, and that's if you have years of a squeaky clean driving record. If you've gotten a ticket or into an accident, or you're just young, car insurance could cost you up to $5,000 a year. Now, to be fair, this is because Canada doesn't really offer a minimum coverage option like they do in America. In many cases, the minimum coverage in Canada is really like the best coverage you can get in most states. So while Canadian drivers do have to pay a bit more up front, at least they don't have to worry about getting sued or going bankrupt from an accident. Number 9. Places are very spread out. If you don't want to pay for expensive car insurance, you probably aren't going to get very far. Sure, you'll be able to get around the cities with good public transportation like Vancouver, Montreal, or Toronto, but it'll be a lot harder anywhere else. Like I said earlier, Canada is the second largest country in the world, but it's also one of the least densely populated countries with just around 4 people per square kilometer. In comparison, the US has a population density of over 36 people per square kilometer. As you can probably guess, this leaves a whole lot of room for a whole lot of nothing. Well, technically not nothing, more like a whole lot of beautiful wilderness. But as far as human civilization goes, well, it's exactly that. Far. It takes over 80 hours to drive the near 7,500 kilometer Trans-Canada highway from coast to coast, and most major cities are at least a 6 to 7 hour drive apart. But hey, at least that also means there's a ton of gorgeous, untouched nature to explore. Well, that is if you can afford a car.
Okay. It's kind of loud.
Number 8. Healthcare. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what? You said Canada has amazing healthcare with universal coverage that's free at the point of service. Well, it does. But unless you had a major accident or are in life-threatening condition, the wait times are long. Now, to be fair, in the U.S., wait times are also pretty long, and it actually takes 24 days on average to see a doctor for a first-time appointment versus only 8 days in Canada. But the median wait time for a minor surgery or treatment is 19.8 weeks in Canada, which is more than 3 times longer than in the U.S. It is free out of pocket, though, so at least there's no going bankrupt for medical expenses or having
it's free.
insurance
I'll wait those
and
19 days.
And no losing healthcare coverage either if you lose your job. Also, prescription drug and medicine prices are generally much cheaper in Canada than the US for the same exact drug. Many of the residents in Canada really like their system as they prefer the longer wait times to expensive premiums and deductibles. But if you're someone who just can't stand waiting around and you don't mind paying lots of money for immediate treatment or to see a specialist, the US is probably a better place for you. Number 7, lack of good paying jobs. It's a good thing Canada has universal health care, because a lot of people wouldn't have any coverage if it was employer-based instead. There just aren't many good paying jobs available here, especially if you weren't born in Canada. Now, to be fair, Canada's economy has been booming. Well, for Canada standards. There actually are a lot of high-end jobs, but most of them are taken. And whenever a new position does open up, literally hundreds of way overqualified residents apply for it, so the job market's extremely competitive. Of course, this always varies depending on your province, city, and qualifications, but as a whole, it's pretty difficult to find a good paying job in Canada if you aren't specialized in a skill that's in high demand. And even if you are, Canadian experience matters a lot to most employers. This might help explain the 7.8% Canadian unemployment rate compared to just 4.4% in the US. Although if you do get a job, incomes are slightly higher on average here than in the United States. Number 6, awful internet. Maybe you're thinking, so what? I don't care about jobs. I already have a great job online. Or I own an auto.
Yeah, so I was just gonna simply say that the internet thing is was it the internet? Yeah, the internet thing isn't too much of a thing. I heard that you can get you some internet boxes or some Wi-Fi from different Verizon, T-Mobile stores and things like that.
There?
No. But I'm pretty sure they have it. I remember when we first moved into one of our homes back in the day, you know what I'm saying, we went for our internet to get cut on. It wasn't even a good internet service either. Right. And we went to Verizon, we was going to pick up a little hotspot box.
Do y'all have Verizon in Canada?
Hotspots, right? You guys probably have hotspot boxes that y'all can use on days when your internet just all of a sudden want to act up.
Yeah, because the internet, that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Online business. Well, in that case, Canada probably isn't the best place for you either, because the internet here is just plain awful. Sure, most of the big cities have more options if you can afford to shell out over $100 a month to get decent internet by American standards, like 75 megabit download and 10 megabit upload. But as soon as you start to get out into the suburbs and more rural areas, decent internet speeds just aren't available at all. And to make things even worse, many of the plans, even in the cities, have data caps, and in the rural areas, they all have data caps. If you go over your 80 gigabytes, you could end up paying some serious fees. Depending on where you live and how often you use the internet, you might end up spending $400 to $500 a month for crappy 5 megabit download speeds.
That's a lot.
Number 5. High taxes. No matter what your job is, you're obviously gonna have to pay taxes if you move here. I mean, it's not like the healthcare and infrastructure are gonna pay for themselves. You might see that the highest tax rate in Canada is only 33% compared to 37% in the US, but look a little closer and you'll realize that that's because the highest bracket in Canada starts at income earned over 214,000 Canadian dollars, which is equivalent to about 153,000 US dollars, while the highest bracket in the US starts at 510,000 US dollars. On top of that, each province or territory has its own extremely high income tax as well. Expect to pay at least 10 to 12% in additional taxes for most salaries in most provinces, and if you're in Quebec, Oh boy, you're looking at an additional 26% in taxes on income earned over 106,000 Canadian dollars. To be fair, there's a lot more covered for you here than in the US, so you're kinda getting what you're paying for. Like keeping the cities clean, paid family leave, the Canadian pension plan, and free healthcare. Just keep in mind that no matter where you move here, half your salary is probably going to taxes. Not to mention, sales tax is 5% across the country and can be an additional 6 to 10% depending on the province. And to top it all off, for your first few years of living in Canada, you might also have to pay US taxes or taxes to your original country. Number 4.
That sounds like a
Wait a minute.
I don't know about that.
So we gotta pay American tax and Canada tax at the same time?
Yeah.
Whoo, ja. That make you want to stay where you at. Cause what?
Yeah, he said for a few years too, and I wonder what's the reason if you move. Like, if I moved away, if I'm no longer part of this country, why do I have to continue to pay taxes there?
Gee.
Like, that need to be explained.
Like,
expensive. If you thought the taxes were bad enough, wait until you check out the real estate market. Unless you make a lot of money, purchasing a home in Canada is going to be incredibly difficult, especially in Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia, where the prices are rising way faster than the incomes can keep up with. In fact, Vancouver is currently the second least affordable city in North America, behind only San Francisco. The median home value is around $970,000 US dollars, and Toronto isn't much better with a median home value at $517,000 US dollars. Of course, the further you get from the cities, the cheaper things are, but we already discussed how expensive it is to own a car for that commute. Housing aside, the cost of living here is just high in general. Many Canadians even travel across the border into the US to buy clothes and furniture at lower prices. And gas is usually way cheaper in the States as well. But at least groceries and essential goods are pretty on par in price for the most part. Number 3. Passive-aggressive residents. The whole Canadians are just so friendly saying isn't exactly true. Polite, for sure, but friendly wouldn't be the best word to describe them. Canadians, for the most part, are very well-mannered, but they often aren't honest about their feelings except with close friends. This can lead to a somewhat passive-aggressive and avoidant culture. In the US, people are usually more comfortable saying they don't want to be friends or that they don't want to hang out. But in Canada, people will just make plans that they don't stick to because they don't want to say no to your face. Now, in small Canadian towns, the residents are usually a lot more genuine and will go out of their way with kindness. But in larger cities, people are much less genuinely hospitable and more just non-confrontational. This is nice when you're just visiting and it seems like everyone's so friendly, but if you live here for a while, you might get annoyed at not knowing what people really think of you and having to interpret what they really mean. Basically, if a Canadian tells you, "Thanks for coming out," or "I'm in a hurry, sorry," they probably mean F off. Number 2. It gets cold. Now, while there are many problems in Canada, they all pale in comparison to the cold. Considering most of the country lies above the 49th parallel, winter in most parts of Canada means 6 to 8 months of not being able to feel your face.
How are
6 to 8 months?
6 to 8 months? Nah. Of this?
Nah. I couldn't do that. It's a lot of shoveling.
It's beautiful.
But 6 to 8 months of, and probably below 0 too.
We'll be shut in the house.
Yeah. We'll be chilling.
How are y'all driving?
AC still on.
AC still on.
Fan blowing or something just because.
How are y'all still I mean, you must have to know where you're at.
That's not safe. They would have told us to not get on the road.
Right.
Yeah, they'll say y'all stay home.
City shut down here.
Right.
In the south. The north is used to it, but
yeah, that's not.
Jeez, I don't see no road.
No traffic lights.
I don't see nothing.
I think he picked a bad picture for this one because this looks dangerous.
It's beautiful though.
It's very nice looking, very sexy,
it
but it's
like
dangerous. Yeah, was he? Even the car in front of him don't even have no tracks.
They look like they on the side of the road. That car over there. Jeez.
I don't know, yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot.
2 to 3 months of insane cold, dangerous roads, and a whole lot of crazy storms. And when I say most parts, I really mean like
Ooh, hot
every part
springs.
except Vancouver and Victoria. And
Gotta
while
go
they
to
are
Bench-
more similar
that's
in
where you need
climate
to go,
Seattle,
Google.
so they never get too cold, they still aren't exactly a tropical vacation either. And every other city in Canada gets well below freezing. Places like
Ooh.
Quebec, Edmonton, Regina, or Winnipeg routinely drop below -30 Celsius, which is -22 degrees Fahrenheit. Most cities
Oh,
get around
man.
50 inches of snow per year, but places like Ottawa or Montreal can get over 90. Let's just say you better like shoveling. The cold is
how
pretty
about
much
that?
the reason why over 90% of Canadians live within 150 miles of the US border. Go any farther north and, well, just look at what temperatures in Yellowknife were earlier this year.
Negative
Wow, that's-
35. Hold on. Before I even say number one.
That's low.
Jesus, for the Texas freeze that we went through, what, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
It got 1 degree. No, it actually got negative,
10 at the lowest.
I want to say 10.
I think it was like around that
Negative
time.
10. We were freezing. Our dog was freezing.
The birds is falling out the sky.
We actually took care of some birds in our house.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Jesus, I don't think I could deal with no negative 30.
City was preserving energy.
Blackouts.
Rolling blackouts.
We had a whole vlog series. Like, we was up in there just miserable.
Having fun, but at the same time,
Yeah.
being from Louisiana, then moving to Texas and dealing with a rolling blackout because the temperature has dropped dramatically,
Yes.
it was different.
Looking
It was
out the
different.
window at the businesses that have electricity, just mad.
Just mad at everybody. That's funny. Oh.
The immigration process is difficult. Speaking of the
That's-
US border, unless you're a highly desired worker with a special skill, there's a lot you'll have to go through to even be able to move to Canada. Although US citizens don't need any type of visa or authorization to visit Canada, this is definitely not the case for immigrating to Canada. In order to qualify for residency, you have to have either a highly desired skill that can be used in a Canadian business, a job waiting for you in Canada, relatives or friends who have nominated you for permanent residency, or you gotta be an entrepreneur with a high net worth. Then you can basically forget about applying if you've ever been convicted of a crime, have a
Damn.
serious health risk, are in financial trouble, or if one of your family members has been banned from Canada. The process isn't easy or cheap,
Whoa.
and even if you marry
What
We
the
talking
family
about
member got to do with the
Cut the
person?
take the whole route up. Just no one could come through.
Jeez.
I ain't know great such and such messed up everything for everybody else. That's messed.
Oh, imagine you want to move to Canada and, jeez, okay.
They have to go through a lot of files and investigating for that though.
They gotta go
Background
through a
checks or
lot.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's okay.
Canadian citizen, you won't necessarily get citizenship. Now be sure to leave a like
Oh.
and subscribe if you're interested in more videos about Canada.
Interesting.
Okay, very interesting. It's crazy. I think this is the second video we have seen of something like this, and the first one is hard to get
Yeah.
into the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But again, he did say there was 2 cities out there that do not completely freeze over, and that's the ones that will, you know what
We'll
I'm saying?
visit.
Yeah, we're gonna stick our
that's
feet
the
in.
ones we're gonna visit
Oh yeah.
after the 6 to 8 months of all that snow.
Oh yeah. 'Cause going through all that is just not needed.
6 to 8 months though. Our winter is what, around October, November, December.
Not even nearly 6 to 8 months.
Not even really October. Like more of November.
Like we'll
It's
get
about-
more of the rain, if anything.
Yeah. Well, not in Texas.
No, not in Texas.
Mm.
Again, though, listen, I don't think this video had enough for me to be like I wouldn't go.
Yeah, no. The
It
only
didn't have
thing
enough.
is the internet
That's nothing.
and the snow.
Find
There's
good
nothing-
service and don't move.
For what we do, we need internet.
I don't think we have a problem.
Okay.
And the snow, that's about it.
So
Like,
let us know how we would work around the internet situation. The snow,
that's
I don't
unavoidable
know.
unless you're in a certain location.
Maybe that will be those 6 months that we go visit another country
Mm-hmm.
and come back when the snow is all melted.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a good video, guys. We hope you all enjoyed it with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks
Yes.
if you would like to support the channel that way. And if you would like to send us anything from Canada, make sure you check out our description box where we have our mailing address.
Facts.
We'll see you soon.
Peace.